Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, what a roller coaster of a day. I mean, the Qs go down 1.6, the SPY ends up going down like 1.25 and ends up green. And it didn't have anything to do with Nvidia at all, which we're going to get into. I mean, there's numbers on the video. It's just mind-boggling. So we're going to really focus on that and also talk about what's next. Because if you notice, not really much movement coming out of Nvidia, so we're going to look at that right there. But it was just such a roller coaster. Oh my goodness! Let me know if you were participating in it. I actually enjoyed the day myself. But we're going to go into Nvidia and talk about, is there any competition for this company and what it means for this AI pump we've been on, the semiconductor sector. Because I'm going to show you a visual. Says it all. Just says it all. I mean, there's nothing else you need to even look at. And we'll talk about earnings here real quick. But you can see right here, I mean, not a lot going on. By the time I think this is coming out, honestly, it's back to close to break even right now. But the results were simple. I mean, they end up, obviously, once again, they beat, okay? But the guidance supposedly underwhelms because why? They've been given this crazy, crazy guidance. I was listening to somebody talk about how bad the audio was on the earnings call there. But, when we scroll down and look at it, you can see earnings per share 0.81 on revenue of 35.1 billion. They're expecting 0.75, so they beat the revenue by 2 billion. Excuse me. Look at the data center revenue, 30.8 billion, up 17% from Q2, up 112% from a year ago. I will show you a visual on this as well. That's compared to estimates of 28.84 billion. Q4 revenue is expected to be 37.5 billion plus or minus 2% compared to the estimates of 37.09. And so that's underwhelming, right? Because you've been hanging the moon. They talk about their Blackwell chips and both Hopper and Blackwell. Demand's going to be huge. They're going to have supply constraints, that kind of stuff. But understand, we're expecting an 8% move. That's the options market, right? And let me double check this. I believe that is 300 billion in market cap. Yep. I said in the morning news brief, 300 billion in market cap. To keep that in perspective, guys, there's only 25 companies in S&P, if I'm not mistaken, that have a $300 billion market cap or greater out of 500. And it actually be 2 because Google has multiple shares and so does Berkshire. But that's crazy. And then check this out. 500 billion with a B. 500 billion in stock options were bet on Nvidia earnings. Oh, my goodness. Right? So, all hope is not lost, right? If you end up going up to, I believe it's like, 8% above where we started the day or ended the day, that is, or 8% below, and you bought straight leg, put or call options, you'll probably be fine maybe. But just look at this right here. I wrote this in Discord. This will trigger a lot of people. Just to keep things in perspective of who the king, queen, and prince is in the semi sector. The rest are just a bunch of gestures at this point. Gestures make money, by the way, too. LOL, okay? So, yes, the gestures make money. But look at this right here. I mean, there is no competition. Let's look at what look at what Nvidia has accomplished. Market cap of 1.2 trillion, December 2023. All the rest of them, 2.5 total. Look at what has happened. All the rest of them have gained an extra 0.5 or 500 billion in market cap, and Nvidia has tripled. And then you think, well, that can't be the case. I don't know why and all this good stuff. And then you go and you look at visuals like this that the rest of them aren't even close to. Look at that right there. I mean, look at that revenue. Look at the data center revenue. Even the gaming revenue is not bad. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to think in my mind. What company have you seen ever do this before? I don't know. Maybe Cisco back in the day, was it? I don't know. Maybe. Look at this. Revenue, this is quarter over quarter. 17% gross profit, 75% margins quarter over quarter, 62% margin operating profit, net profit 19.3 billion quarter over quarter. And those data centers, man, those data centers, gaming's up 14%. Data centers though bringing in almost 30 billion. So basically, it's a data center company, right? I mean, that's where the money's going. And so that's why people are buying, the utility companies and all this crazy mess. And so, you look over here and you're like, look, talk about if there's going to be, a rally going to year end, you would think you would need Nvidia, right, to make this happen. So if you start seeing these levels start breaking to the upside, well, guess what? The market knows what it needs to do. Now, can we have a rally without them and the semis? Sure. I mean, look over and I'll show you why. If they start buying up Microsoft and Apple, which had not reached their previous all-time high yet, Google, Meta, Amazon, they're already buying up Tesla, right? Then look at the weights. Nvidia does have a 7% weight, but all the rest of those I just mentioned are heavily weighted too. You can see why Tesla hadn't had a huge effect in the market. It's literally 1.92%. But Apple and Microsoft make up 13% of the SPY, almost 17% on the Qs by themselves. Meta looks like it wants to try to break out. Google looks like it too. So that could be the case. And actually, I'm going to do a members video on this tomorrow. Show some people something that's very important. And we're kind of in this situation now. But, look at Avgo, for example. You might have saw this on the list, that top list right there. And I'm going to show you something because there's certain companies buying this. I want to show it to you. But you can see, as of July forward, it hadn't really done anything, right? Not really at all. And if Nvidia starts to go up, it normally drags up all the semis, right? If Nvidia comes down, it drags down all the semis because it's the queen, and the prince. All the rest of them are just riding the coattails right now. You can tell it by their earnings. And so, look at this one. Does it got room to fall? Sure. But what's funny is when you look right here, look who bought in the third quarter. I told you, I look at BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Why is that? Because Vanguard and State Street follow what BlackRock does. They use their AI program. And you see Broadcom, right? Increase that. Can you imagine have a $40, by the way, purchase price on this? Look at these purchase prices. This will make you jealous. Apple, $45. Amazon at $67 is their average. Microsoft, $99. Walmart, $34. That's just crazy. But they bought Avgo. Well, who else bought Avgo in the third quarter? Oh, look at that right there. I'll be darned. Is that Vanguard? Did they do exactly that? Yeah, they've also bought Amazon as well. They bought Apple, right? And so they increased their position. They got a 41.50 price target. They're beating BlackRock right there. And you can see their average buy price right here, which is just crazy. 55 on Amazon. Holy moly. Apple, 31. Avgo, 41. Visa, 84. Palantir at 22. Woo! But who else bought? Let's look right here. Well, look at that. State Street followed too in the third quarter. They bought more shares too. But they beat them all. They got a $38 price target on Avgo. Look at that. 48 on Amazon, 44 on Apple, Palantir 27. So, all three of those big boys went in there. Okay. And that's, when you look at that, they're expecting something because I don't think they would have sold, honestly, because it ain't like Avgo's done anything. So can we have, this year-end rally? Yeah, you're either going to have a lot more participation, right? Start watching the RSP, the QQEW, right? And some of these heavyweights to push it up if the semis aren't going to participate. Or, it's kind of like the guy I always show you with the flows saying flows are going to be light coming in December. Maybe, you're not going to have this huge year-end rally, that kind of stuff. But if semis do pick up, and then you see all the other big boys start to follow, and you can look at BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, they're expecting some of those big boys to follow, right? They're buying Apple, they're buying Amazon, they're buying Avgo. And so, and there's many others that did. I'm just showing you those three because they kind of follow in lockstep, okay? And so we'll go into earnings, then I'm going to ask you a question after this. It just absolutely, maybe I'm the only one that gets upset about this. Maybe I am. I don't know. But looking at earnings tomorrow, you're looking at Baidu. I think that's JD.com. No, it's PDD. Excuse me. I always say JD.com. It's no. John Deere, BJ's, then Intuit, and then a lot of retailers. Gap, Ross. I know Shaw, Target getting slaughtered today, but they got killed. Now here's my question. This amazes me, by the way. For the 7th year in a row, the Pentagon has failed its financial audit, and there's many other, by the way, agencies in the government that can't pass an audit, which is just staggering to me. Around 2.46 trillion they can't account for. Trillion, by the way. Not only that, it cost almost $200 million just to conduct the freaking audits, okay? Now, I'm going to show you this quick interview with John Stewart and somebody who works at the Defense Department, and just listen to the arrogance in this lady. I want to remember to load this up, and I want to share it with you. And listen to what she says. This is mind-boggling to me. This is the people working in the government. Hopefully she's one of the ones not there anymore, I hope. But listen to this crap.
The ability to pass an audit or the fact that the DOD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false right there. So what is now is a question of it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where. That is not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So in my world,
yeah,
that's waste.
How is that waste?
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think? And when there has been reporting, I mean, this is not, look, I'm not saying this is on you. and that you caused this. But I think it's a tough argument to
I'm pretty
make
sure I
that
didn't cause it.
an $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went, like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for. And especially when they see food insecurity on military bases, and they see...
You want to talk about that? Because that's a good... we should be talking... I mean, well, I'm trying to understand where you're trying to go, other than the dollars, which really bother you.
Yes! The money! Do you understand how irate I am about this? Because if you and I get audited and we say, I'm so sorry, Mr. IRS agent, I just can't account for all those things I put on my taxes. I lost all the receipts. Guess what's going to happen? You are going to have fines, interest to pay, whatever you actually, let's say you got extra $1,000 back, you're going to be paying way more than that to the IRS. And don't forget, what did Al Capone go to jail for? Wasn't for all the crazy stuff he did, right? All the dirty, illegal stuff. No, it's for tax fraud, tax evasion. And yet you got all these government agencies that can't pass an audit, not just not pass it, over $2 trillion, that's the budget deficit, right? That is the budget deficit. And she wants to stand and go, that's not waste or fraud or anything. Really? Really? If I gave you $1 billion to invest, I don't even know if I put that in that clip, and like he was doing this example, and I say, where's my money? And you say, well, here's 500 million of it. I don't know what the other 500 million went. What do you think he did with it? Do you think he embezzled the money? Like, and the one thing about defense which drives me nuts, and you don't have to be in the military. Look, I served in the infantry in the Marine Corps. A lot of you guys have served. Trust me. I guarantee they'll back me up when I tell you there is so much waste in the military. It is insane, especially at the end of the quarter and the end of the year, okay? Because they got to keep spending all of it to get the budget increased. And I do love how we got out of 2 wars, but all of a sudden our defense spending keeps increasing. Didn't we just get out of 2 wars? Like, why are we still increasing it? Now, that makes any sense. But if somebody said, I'm telling you, it makes no sense for anybody to believe the more we spend, the safer we are. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely 100% ridiculous. And if they're talking about Elon and Vivek, talking about reshaping the government, you got to start there. You got to start there. That's one of the biggest expenses is the dang defense budget. And ain't nothing but, I'm telling you now, I swear to you, ain't nothing but money laundering. Ain't nothing but a way to take our tax dollars and our American credit card and push it up to the wealthy. Let's pull up all the zip codes around Washington, D.C. and see who lives there. Defense contractors. I got buddies of mine, 2 of them in particular, that work for defense contractors and engineers, and they straight up tell me, they're like, when we get these freaking projects, we tell them straight up, this ain't going to work, and they say, we don't care. Just go ahead and go with it, right? It's amazing, and they'll still pay them. And they go, yeah, by the time we get done with this, it's going to be obsolete or it won't work. Don't matter. Don't matter. And that's our tax dollars hard at work for something that's not even going to work. And the engineers are telling them, they're telling them, this is not going to work. Don't matter. And so if they, I'm telling you now, if Elon and them don't start there and do anything about this, it's all for nothing, because all the rest of that stuff is pennies. We just pull up a government budget, you will see Social Security, Medicare, and there's defense spending. There's $1 trillion a year? Good Lord. Really? And you want to keep increasing it every year? That just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Anyway, it just infuriates me. Infuriates me. And when you're talking about we're going to cut the Special Olympics budget, like, what was it, 6 years ago? That idiot said we're going to cut the Special Olympics out because we got to make hard choices. $5 million budget, by the way, at the federal level. $5 million. That is a rounding error. That gets lost every day, obviously, in the American government. You want to cut Special Olympics, but you don't want to cut defense spending. Come on now. Anyway, that's my tirade on that one. Let me know what you think in the bottom. As far as I showed you the levels on the indexes, guys, it's all going to depend on whether they want to take semis and Nvidia tomorrow. That's just the way it's going to be. Maybe you get some consolidation here. That's what we got to wait and see how it's going to react. Okay. So anyway, hope you have a good one, and I'll end up seeing you tomorrow.